know that we finished the game with Megan. I hope that was fun. Welcome to the corporate track. If you find yourself here, you're in the corporate track, so welcome. My name is Karis Nanigan, and I work as the marketing lead for Gnowbe, and we're so excited you're here today. We have the one and only Robert Feeney in here, and we're excited for him to share. He's taken time out of his own day. As you can see, he's in a conference, and he's checked into our virtual conference, so we're really grateful for that. So today we're going to be following on the Gnowbe program. So I will drop in the chat now, and this is the program link that you can follow along in real time with Robert as he's asking you interactive questions. So make sure you pop into that, as well as an introduction to him. He is the Chief Vision Officer at Knowledge as a Service Incorporated, and that's the creators of Ringarang. Ringarang, is that right? So
yes, kind of like boomerang.
Ringarang, I love it. Yeah. And his topic today is really intriguing. It's how content creators get a seat at the leadership table. So this is a living program, so we'll have other people come into it and discuss. And with that, I'll hand it off to you, Robert. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you very much, Karis. And so it's Megan and Ryan. Thanks for coming in and being willing to be a part of this. If you're open to it, I'd love to see you on camera and then we can interact with each other, because what I intend to do here is offer up, hi there, it's to offer up something interactive here where we can be something that I've developed over time, which is a way of supporting content creators, especially learning designers, but really content creators of all types, in getting a seat at the table with leadership. And the reason how I've developed this is because that's what I am. You know, I started, hey there, Ryan, thanks for coming on camera. So I started out as an artist, and when I went to Hollywood initially and was involved with, well, first I was in front of the camera. I was an actor and a singer and a dancer. I was in a musical called Newsies, and it was kind of my 15 minutes of fame. Oh, we got a Newsies fan, very good. So I was one of the Newsies in the Christian Bale movie, and that had me, I was really excited because it was my first year in Hollywood, right? And then they do this live action movie musical, which Disney hadn't done for 1,000 years. So this was my first love, was arts. And then I started moving behind the camera and getting into writing. So now I was getting into content creation, where it wasn't that I was the content, it was more like I was writing content for others. And then that's moved me in a circuitous route over to learning and learning design. And that's where now there's kind of a beautiful combination of art and science that goes into learning design. And since we've got the two of you here, do you mind if I ask each of you, I would love to know what it is your capacity is as a content creator. Would that be all right, Megan? Is there any way, Karis, we can get her unmuted? There we go.
Yeah,
I got you muted.
Depends on the day. So I'm actually not that comfortable with content creation, which is part of why I really like this conference. I am not in that space typically. So I'm trying to learn more about it so that when I do have to do it, which I do in the course of my job, I can do it confidently.
Very good.
I'm doing more outward facing, so creation for events and things like that.
Okay, so on a marketing, it's in a marketing capacity largely, but more event creation. You'd like to get more into content creation. Okay, good. So then your perspective is going to be very interesting to me, and I'll appreciate the interactions. Ryan.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
I can.
Great, cool. Yeah, so I actually started out with a background in literature and writing. I worked in publishing at the beginning of my career, and then actually moved on to managing education organizations. So that didn't involve a lot of content creation at the beginning, but I slowly found myself in a learning and development management role in my first company. And then I transitioned to another company and was in a full-time learning and development, training development role. And I found that the thing I liked most about that was the content creation aspect of it. But also listening and understanding the needs of the staff that we were training, of course. So yeah, I mean, content creation isn't intimidating to me, but
Mhm.
I'm looking for ways to make it more interactive, more engaging, for the people that I'm training. So that's why I'm here.
Very good. Okay, I got all that. That's great. So I got that your passion is on the content creation side, and
Sure.
that you've had a good mix of management experience and organizational experience as well as content creation. So that's what brings me here on camera too, is that I really was on the creation side of things, and then moved over, really swung the pendulum quite a bit over into executive and entrepreneurship. And what I found myself doing is serving as a vendor. I created a product, the product that Karis mentioned, Ringarang, which is a behavior change technology. We use it in large scale organizations to help them, by the drip, create a game-based like format where 1 minute at a time you're engaging people in taking on some new action, trying something new. And that requires those 1 minute nudges to be very specifically crafted when it comes to content. Like, it's got to be crafted in a way that it's simple. It's not nestled right in the middle of their day when they've been busy doing and thinking about other things, and they suddenly want to just look at this bit of nano learning that's been handed to them. And then do that repetitively enough that they may actually want to take an action that's different than what they usually do. And our whole science is to try to get them to take those actions when they're least comfortable, when they're actually, it's what I call the heat of the moment. I'll share my screen here for a second so you can see the interface we have here with Gnowbe. So a little content creation right here of just this simple image of in the heat of the moment. So now consider what I mean by this. The heat of the moment, we all know. Juliana. Okay, very
That's
good.
right.
Thank you for joining us.
you.
Is it all right if you just quickly introduce yourself and what you do as a content creator or an aspiring content creator?
Thank you. Yes, apologies for joining late, but I'm very glad I
Quite
did.
all right.
So I support learning practitioners and learning leaders in business, as well as training providers, to really
very good.
find the strategic link to the business problem that you're trying to solve, and then to track that
beautiful.
with measurable metrics.
Oh, beautiful. Okay. Well, your world and my world are almost entirely overlap. That's exactly what I do. And I usually do it from a vendor side. I bring a technology to bear to do that very thing. The last thing I was saying just as you came in is that ultimately we have our customers track that there is a direct connection between what's being learned and business performance. I'm at a conference right now here. This is actually around schools, because we help students get into a workforce where they're driving measurable value for employers. They need a behavior change in order to do that. So that fits right in there, Julianne. Well, now the heat of the moment. Yeah, you're very welcome. And this is gonna be a very interactive session, which is the reason I requested that you speak up. Thank you very much for that. If there's, I'm gonna do some role play. And the purpose of the role play is to have you and I fail at the conversation multiple times. That brings up the heat of the moment, at which point you either don't get into a strategic conversation that you'd like to with the leader, or you do. And the purpose of failing it over and over again is to really feel the heat. So it's going to be uncomfortable, but the good thing that I can tell you is that you're not going to look bad. Rather, I should say that we're all going to look bad by design. That's the nature of it, right? And then there's something you can do to step past it and actually cause something to happen that will amaze you. And there are a few simple premises, a couple of what should I call it? Principles, let's say, that you can pay attention to. Now, let me see if I've got this right. If I scroll down here, in the heat of the moment, you do this. I'm going to posit this, and then I'm going to ask you if you can share some of your own experiences around this. So it says your value and their intentions. Okay. It's kind of juxtaposing those two against each other. At the top, you'll see it reads, in the heat of the moment, you do this. We all do this. Either we question our own value in the conversation, or we question their intentions. So let me unpack that for you a little bit, and then I'd like to ask for your feedback on this. Let's say you're in a conversation with a leader and you see that there's something strategic that you could offer. Because developing content is, of course, not just about making something look good or making it sound good, but sometimes leaders accidentally treat it that way. Like, okay, we've got a strategy, we're going to do this, and now here's the order. And it's handed over to the content creators, whether they're marketers or whether they're learning designers, et cetera. So then it runs the risk of very smart content creators being turned into order takers, and they do the best they can with it and hand it back. If you could give me a show of physical hands, how many of you have wanted to be more involved in strategic conversations and found yourself not having the access to it before? I'm curious. I want to see if you can bring to mind. Karis, you have. Okay, great. Juliana, I see that you have. Ryan, have you? Okay, very good. And Megan, what about you? Have you found yourself in that position yet, or is that the world you're about to walk into here?
That is, yeah, I'm kind of on the in-between.
Yeah, got it. All right, so let me ask then, could you share with me, and Karis, I'll leave this to you if you want to do this on the screen too, whether we want to write it down so that it's living in the Gnowbe wall, or we could just do this also verbally here. So I definitely will do it verbally. I'll invite you if you want to do it on the wall. Here's my question. What got in the way? Think of one of those scenarios. What got in the way when you wanted to be involved strategically with that leader, but you didn't have the access? What got in the way?
Just maybe a matter of that's not necessarily my area of expertise, but I do have an opinion on it because it's something that I deal with on a daily basis, whereas they don't. So where it's not my area,
not your area of expertise,
I still have to do it, so it involves me.
Very good. Yeah, not your area of expertise, but you do have something you'd like to say about that. Ryan, can you think of a situation, a scenario?
Yeah, I mean, and I guess the situation that I was in was just that the conversations were happening within another department, and yeah, there was maybe a lack of cross-departmental communication. Sometimes when the leaders from that department would reach out to me, we could have that conversation, but it was just kind of like by chance if we bumped into each other and they asked me, oh, hey, what do you think about this thing that we might do? I wasn't organized in any way.
Okay, understood. Yeah, it just didn't seem like it was right there for you. It was over there somewhere.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I got that. Juliana, can you think of a scenario?
I think distractions often, and those are most often the immediate pressure of the moment, the crisis that needs to be solved, not the strategic objective, but that immediate operational whatever is falling apart at that particular moment.
Yeah, I really got that. Even as a leader in my own business, I run into that all the time where I feel like I'm firefighting so much that I don't get a chance, or I don't give myself a chance to step in and have a conversation that would really make a difference strategically, let's say. Did I catch what you were after there? Okay, very good. Well, okay, so let's consider for a moment that in each of those cases, there's a leader that needs to be spoken with. Megan, in your case, didn't think it was your area. Ryan, you were sure it wasn't your area. Juliana, you were too busy doing other things, right? So in each of those cases, what there needs to be is a leader identified who's going to be an influencer. I'll give you, and then it's to determine, really acknowledge that there are going to be one or two things that are going to show up that will stop you. One of them is questioning your own value, and the other is questioning their intentions. So for example, Megan, you might have had something like that going on for you, where it's like, it's not really my area, even though I have an opinion. In a sense, it's questioning the value of whether the other person's going to see what you have to offer as valuable. Valid?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, in the heat of the moment of a conversation, it gets even more intense. So I'm going to ask for somebody to jump in with me. And again, what I'm going to ask you to do for the person who's going to volunteer with me, you're going to be a huge contribution to the others here and anyone else who watches this recording, because we're going to create a failed conversation around this, where you're going to be a content creator and I'm going to be a leader whom you're propositioning with an idea or wanting to get to the table to help strategize something so that you're not just order taking. And when we get to the heat of that moment, once, twice, maybe 3 times if we have the time, you're going to start seeing an access to how to get past that heat of the moment. So who's game?
Do it.
Sorry, I lost my view of everybody. Was that you, Megan?
Yes.
I got your voice. Okay, great. Hey, like I said, it's a great contribution what you're doing here. So Megan, what I'm going to invite you to do is consider either that scenario that you already thought of, or if there's any other one that pops up, maybe the one you had already in mind is going to be the most accessible. And you have an idea, right, that you would like to position with that leader. Yes?
Okay.
I'm going to be that leader. My name's Robert, so just speak it to me as Robert, and I'll speak to you as Megan. And assume that this is, in all cases, if you're going to be at the leadership table, there's got to be a leader, at least one, that you're speaking to, that you've got their ear. And then you want to, I'm going to ask you to do this. Share your idea with me, and then I'm going to shut you down. Okay? Just to establish that's what's going to end up happening here. What I'm going to ask you to do this time around is react as you normally would. Either, I don't care if it's arguing with me, I don't care if it's just saying, okay, fine. You know, just react as you normally would. Good?
Okay.
All right, great. So let's go ahead and start. Megan, you were saying you wanted to add, you had an idea for me. Go for it. What is it?
Yeah, so I was thinking about how, you know, on our team, we're being asked to do some marketing and some sales, and it doesn't feel like we're all kind of on the same page. We're kind of stepping on each other's toes. I'm doing a little bit of this, they're doing a little bit of that. I think it would be beneficial for us if we could, you know, have a meeting with everybody so that we could all kind of plan it out, and we can be involved in what's happening in the decisions that are being made, because right now it feels just kind of messy.
Yeah. I got it. Totally got it. Well, I do not want to put more meetings on our calendar, but I totally appreciate what it is you're trying to do. I think what we're going to do is once we get some decisions made, we're going to come back around to you. You may have some thoughts about it at that point. So let's just work it out then. Good.
What if I kind of create like my own meeting with a couple people, and then we kind of come to you with some ideas that we have from our side that you could take to that conversation? Would that be okay?
Yeah, sure. No problem.
Thanks.
Thank you. Cool. Yep. Did you all kind of feel it right there at the end? Like, ew. It's like, ew, she was like really offering something, right? Could you all, it's just so, it's so yucky, isn't it? Like when she's got something genuine she's offering, and then, I mean, I wasn't being mean, I just was dismissive, right? All right, so we're going to do it again, Megan, but let me unpack something here so that when we take another pass at it, I'm going to end up shutting you down again, but it's going to be a different way. All right. So what I'm going to invite you all to think about is as the content creators just come forth, and Megan did, I thought, a really great job. You know, if I had an employee who came to me with that, I would have sat there and listened to it, but it just doesn't always happen with leaders, because there's something that's valuable to me. And in order to get me to want to sit at the table with you and collaborate on something, you got to get at what's valuable to me. Now, just shouting out right now, what's usually valuable to a content creator? Shout it out.
Learning design.
Design, yeah, learning design, absolutely. Anything else?
Metrics.
Yeah, analytics.
Metrics, okay. Analytics, very good. I would throw in quality, like there's like designers tend to be very quality oriented. Ryan, you look like your wheels are turning. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I was trying to think of it, but yeah, quality. That's usually my
Yeah,
concern.
like there's quality. Now, what would you say if you were just to pull it out of the air right now? What is usually valuable to a leader, a business leader?
ROI.
Very good. ROI, some return on investment. Anything else?
Well, in the example I was thinking of, just sales, right? They're looking to,
Okay.
for the initial sale.
Yeah.
Business.
Yeah, it's like the
value.
sales, the numbers. Sorry, again?
Creating value.
Creating value. Okay, very good. Creating value. And ROI. Very good. Now, those are different, aren't they? So what I'm going to ask you to do now, Megan, is do the exact same thing you did again. Come to me again with this idea. And what I want you to do now is speak to one of those. How it's going to do something for sales, or how it's going to do something for our ROI, or how it's going to create value in the organization. Okay?
Got it.
All right, great. And I'm going to shut you down again, by the way.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, very good. And Megan, thanks so much for, you said you wanted a little bit of my time. You got it. You have an idea. What do you got?
Yeah, so I was thinking about how we've got marketing and sales, and we're kind of working on two different things, and we're pouring a bunch of money into marketing right now, but it's not aligning with our sales goals. And because our marketing and sales aren't aligning, now our sales is also, we're not meeting our sales goals because the two teams aren't working together. So instead of dumping more money into marketing that's not aligning with sales, can we take some time, the two teams, to kind of really sit down and work through that? So if we are dumping money into marketing, it's aligning with what our sales goals are, and we can be, more strategic in that ROI for you guys.
Yeah, I think it sounds like a great idea. I mean, if you guys can get together as soon as possible, that'd be awesome. But we're going to make some decisions on, we have some sales metrics we have to get to. I mean, like some projections. Once we're done with those, we're going to come back around. And if you want to be part of the marketing discussion about that, cool. That sound good?
Yeah, when's that going to be? I'm going to put it on my calendar.
When are we going to have those when are we going to have those decisions?
Yeah.
Oh, it's got to be by the end of this week. So it's going to be in the next couple of days.
Sounds
So
good.
yeah, if that's good with you, I'll have it to you soon. Okay, what just happened? What was missing from that conversation? Raise your hands if you heard it or saw it. You did great, Megan. That was perfect.
So he shut
What
he
didn't
shut her
happen?
out again.
Sorry, go ahead, Jim.
You shut
Again,
her out
right.
again. You again said, I'll do my thing, you do your thing. It's got nothing to do with you.
Right. Yep. What was missing was what? I don't mean what was missing with Megan necessarily. I mean, like, what was just missing in the conversation?
The invitation to be a part of that.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? The invitation wasn't there. It's like there wasn't a connection between those two. As Juliana put it, it's like, yeah, I'm going to do my thing, you're going to do your thing. And I heard what you proposed. And I responded to what you proposed, kind of, in my world. Yeah, you can play around with marketing and sales and get all aligned and all that stuff soon. Great. I'm going to get my projections done first. I'll give them to you. Go to it. Right? That wasn't what you were asking. So here's now we're going to do it again. And in this time, I'm going to offer you one other thing. So one thing was to get at the value. What I heard you do at the beginning is you were speaking about, instead of pouring a bunch of more wasted money into sales, let's get aligned first, right? That is kind of speaking to what matters to me. I got that. Now remember, there's something that I value. And the second thing I'm now going to introduce is there's always an obstacle. I mean, over here, the business leader has an obstacle that he or she is trying to overcome themselves to get to that. And the reason that that leader is not bringing you into the conversation is, for whatever reason, they don't think that you're someone who's going to remove their obstacle. Doesn't necessarily mean anything bad about you. They just they didn't know that you're that person. They didn't see you in their value chain that way. So my request of you now, Megan, is let's do this one more time. And I may shut you down or I may not. I'm going to open it up a little more this time. But my request is that you get that value created that matters to me, right? It's either sales, ROI, value creation, right? And then get at what's in my way. What's my obstacle? Get into the conversation with me and see if you can find it, okay?
Okay.
All right. Megan, you got my attention. I got a few minutes. You said you had an idea.
Yeah, I was hoping that we could have a meeting between the sales and marketing teams and include you all. I'd like to see if we can help you guys get a higher return on your investment for our marketing budgets right now. I feel like we're putting a lot of money into marketing that's not aligning with our sales goals. And I think that if we're able to kind of get together and work through that, that would be really great for you guys in the long run. So we're not just dumping money.
Look, Megan, I get it. I mean, I just can't stand it. I mean, it just feels like marketing is just constantly doing one thing, sales is doing another thing. Yeah, and I totally agree. But I really don't want to put any meetings on the calendar. I mean, this has been going on for so long. I really just want to we're going to get some projections done probably by the end of this week. And then once those sales projections are done, we can hand them to marketing and we're going to say, break this down. Work it out. I mean, if you want to be part of that conversation, then, absolutely do it. That'd be helpful, I'm sure.
Is there any way I can help you with those projections? I know how to handle some of those as well.
Yeah.
I can take that off
Can
your
you help
plate.
me with those projections? Yeah, I mean, what's going to end up happening is there's a draft that's being handed to me. I just know it's going to be a mess. I'm going to try to tighten it up based on where I see we've been missing, our sales on a regular basis. And I don't know. I mean, I think it's just best if I give it to you, and then you can make notes on it. And if you want to help translate what you see to the marketing team, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I can do that. I've got kind of an overview on both. So I think that it might be helpful for me to look at both and see how I can make a connection for you ahead of time. So we don't waste that time in that meeting.
Okay, cool. All right, pause. I'm going to step out of this conversation. You're right there, Megan, and you're kind of in the heat of the moment, and I want to call it out. This is really great. You're doing super well. As a leader myself, I'm hearing your invitation to try to help. But what's my obstacle?
Meeting times.
I said that, didn't I? Yeah, so we know at least that. We know that I got this issue of I don't want to take more time in meetings and all that stuff. Okay, right? So we know that. Is there anything else that you could get at or that you could hear?
Help me out, Peanut Gallery.
Yeah, very good. Anyone else? Could you hear anything else?
Projections.
You think might?
Projections are a mess. I think you said, I know it's going to be a mess.
Yeah, they're like a
Very much
mess.
bigger.
There's a frustration. There's an exasperation that's going on over here. So the way I'm trying to handle it is something like slamming it through. I'm just going to slam it through. I don't want to just take a bunch more time talking about it. I'm just going to hand it over and then you all work it out. It's going to be more of the same, isn't it? Right? But you made that invitation. Can I help you with the sales projections? I'm going to ask you to kind of rewind, and we're going to do that part again. And this time, if you have to ask me, do it. But get at what's really in the way for me. What's the obstacle? Work with me as a human being And to do that, you've got to acknowledge my obstacle. So this time, say it out loud. And this will help us wrap up our session. So go ahead and say it out loud, like ask about what's in the way for me, however it comes to you, okay? All right, let's do it. So yeah, Megan, I really don't want to add anything more on the calendar. And it's just been, we just got to get this thing done. I know what needs to be done. I'm going to get the financials from CFO. I'm going to have to tweak them because I know there's not going to be any marketing sensibility, and then I'm going to hand them over to marketing. If you want to be a translator in that, well, please do. That'd be helpful.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
I do want to make sure that we're not just doing the same thing that we have been doing. So maybe if we can get some fresh eyes on it and try a different direction instead of going. I know that was not the best.
Yeah, try it one more time, Megan. You're right there. You're in that heat of the moment. Can you feel it? It's just like, I want to convince him to do something differently. Instead of trying to convince me of anything, instead, get with me in my problem. Yeah, like be in my problem with me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know
good.
that's been kind of trickling down for us too. We see a lot of that. I completely get it. When they come, they're kind of a disaster, and I totally get that side, and I'd really like to help you kind of work through that too. I'll take some of that on for you so that we can get that cleaned up.
Well, how would you take it on for me?
If you want to give me those papers, I don't remember what we called them, but if you want to hand those to me,
the projections.
The projections, yeah, I'm happy to take those projections and look at them and kind of align with the team as well on that side. So you don't have to, and we don't have to have a full meeting, and I can just update you.
So what are you suggesting? Like, I give you, once I do my pass at the financials, hand them to you?
Sure, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know if this is going to be of any use. So, I mean, you, especially in the time frame I need it. I mean, I got to have these done by Friday, but I need the marketing team to have its meeting on Monday afternoon about these things. I'll hand it to you at the end of the day Friday, and if you want to take some weekend time or early in the morning on Monday, that's probably going to suck for you. But if you want to make some comments so that you're prepared, and then get those back to me by 9 a.m. on Monday, maybe we could do something. But it's got to get to the marketing by the afternoon. Can that work?
Sure.
Okay. All right. What started to show up, everybody? What began to show up? That wasn't there before.
It became a little bit more of a conversation.
Yeah. Isn't that funny that you said it that way? It's like it actually started to become a conversation.
Not quite.
How
Almost. You're still
right? Not
down,
quite, but right. But it began. And the only thing that opened it up for me a little bit was that she was willing to start making something easier on me. And I started to feel like she kind of got what my issue was. There's time and there's exasperation that I'm up against. Now, those aren't necessarily real things, but to me, they are. To me, that's the problem. And there's something here that I really just want to highlight as we close this up, is that there's value and there's an obstacle over there with that leader. And even though there's kind of a norm of, yeah, if the leader says no, then I got to just take it as no. The leaders love being challenged if you get their problem. Leaders don't like being challenged if you're just repeating the problem. In the beginning, the first time we did it, Megan, you're basically, you were repeating my problem. You wanted to have more meetings to do more talking between two teams that I don't trust know what the hell they're doing. More problem. But then by the end, you started to kind of get in there with me as a human being and acknowledge the problem and acknowledge that there might be something you could offer that would be different. You're going to find that's a different conversation, but you got to get past the heat of the moment, which tells you I'm going to take no as no. What I'm going to leave you with is when you find yourself in the heat of the moment, either questioning your own value in that conversation that would have you back up, or questioning the intentions of the leader, which is they're an idiot, or they don't care about me, or they're just going to do whatever they do, whatever your judgment is of their intentions. Try stepping past it and getting into their world. And they still might say no. But now you'll have a shot. And if you're unstoppable and you're always offering and contributing value every time you get to that moment, stepping into their world, you're going to start seeing some things open up. Any questions on that finally? You've got a fun look on your face, Juliana. You're thinking.
You know, I actually had a conversation like this today, and
Yeah.
What really worked was to just ask the question straight up. You sound extremely frustrated. Talk to me.
Yeah.
What is it? What is your? And then it can. I know, you know, we can't get people onto training because blah blah blah, and I just kept saying why. What's behind that? What do you think it is? And just digging with questions about how and why, and open-ended questions, and we got to the bottom of it. And we've made
Very
progress.
good.
So
Yeah, see,
I
that's great,
absolutely
Juliana. 'Cause
love
that's,
what you're saying about the heat of the moment. I think it is so easy to back down in the heat of the moment. And it's okay to say, no, that doesn't work for me. I don't believe that that way I'll actually add value to you. I think sometimes we're a little bit scared to say, no, I don't think that's going to help you. Because I know what I'm good at. I know, I'm a learning specialist, but I'm not so this was in a food safety context, this particular conversation. And I say outright, I'm not a food safety specialist. I'm the learning specialist. You're the food safety specialist. Let's acknowledge that. And like Ryan was saying, now we can actually have a conversation. We can actually start speaking each other's language. So I absolutely love the way you've unpacked this process. It's beautiful.
Beautiful. Thank you for acknowledging that. I've enjoyed it, and I'm going to go back to the conference where I am right now and have these kind of conversations myself. So thank you very much for everyone. When you're interacting like this, I always think of it as an act of generosity. So thank you for being a contribution to each other, to me, and to others who will get a chance to listen to this. And I hope you have the rest of this creator conference goes super well for everyone. Enjoy yourself.
Thank you so much.
Robert.
Great to meet you all. You bet. Bye-bye for now.
So for our next step, thank you, Robert, seriously, for sharing your wealth of wisdom on strategic presentation of leadership conversations.